recording. So let's start with next question. Here the statement is given and you have to find out the following sentence with best fit in. Okay. This reality is putting stress on employees who have to pay for transport and all these things. And these are the costs they haven't incurred for nearly 2 years. So when you start with the paragraph, this reality, I cannot take it on one. Prices are rising at their fastest rate in 40 years. Consequently, return to office related costs have shot up. So office related costs have shot up like petrol, food, for instance. So what happens? You're talking about price rising. Okay, yet wages haven't kept up with inflation. So definitely this cannot take second, because you are talking about some scenario where in one thing is rising but the wages haven't kept up with inflation. Even despite the salary growth many workers have enjoyed during a favorable pandemic labor market, but the problem is that the reality is putting stress on employees. Okay, so what is this reality? This reality is the employees have to pay for transport, more childcare, clothing, because after work socialization costs they haven't incurred for nearly 2 years. They were doing work from home and now they have to pay a lot of cost. And this is especially jarring, or you can say hurting, for workers who were able to save during remote work when these expenditures weren't a factor. Okay, so this reality thing will go with this one here, because this is especially hurting. This reality is hurting. Okay, so this is option number 3. So your that is given in option 2, so your answer becomes this one. See, after this line, in April 2022, UMass, a London University lecturer, told BBC Work Life that they were spending nearly quarter of what they have made every day on return to work cost. Okay, coming to the next passage. So this passage is about MOUTAI has been global booze sensation for a decade. So a bottle of its flying fairy was sold in 1980s for equivalent to $1. Now retails for $400. So you are talking about one beverage, okay? And this particular beverage is what? This particular beverage is having a big hype in price from $1 to $400. MOUTAI listed shares have soared by almost 600% in past 5 years, and it does while disregarding every Western marketing mantra. So, what is the magic behind it? It's not global, has major detail sales, and does not appeal to millennials. It scores pitifully on environmental, social, governance measures. In the Boy Scout of the world Western business, it would leave a bad taste. Okay. Now, this liqueur brand, it is described in paragraph 1 and 2. When I come to paragraph 3, there are the author is mentioning 3 factors for its success. What are these 3 success factors? Not all of them easy to emulate. Sorry. First, it profits from Chinese nationalism, known as the national liqueur in China. It was used to raise spirits and disinfect wounds in Mao's Long March. It was Premier Zhou Enlai's favorite triple, shared with Richard Nixon in 1972. Century-old craftsmanship. It's still distilled 8 times and stored for years in earthenware jars. It's a source of national pride. It also claims to be hangover proof, which would make it an invention to rival gunpowder. Okay, so it's a literal sense that okay, it is something claims to be hangover proof, but the thing is, it is an important line because the author is talking literally here, because this invention would make it to rival gunpowder. Okay, let's see how the author is comparing, because first 3 paragraphs we have seen how the author is comparing this particular liqueur with other things. In paragraph number 4, 5 and 6, second reason for his success is China's super rich rather than its middle class. Okay, and these people who are super rich, they are doing what? Their markets are littered with corps of firms that could not compete in cutthroat battle for Chinese middle class wallets. And the country's premium market is massive at 73 m strong, bigger than the population of France. Okay, now coming to next para, third reason is looks beyond affluent millennials and digital natives. Elderly and middle age, it found, can be just as lucrative. Biggest market is about the male drinkers, okay, in their mid 30s. Many have no siblings thanks to 4 decades of China one child policy. And if you also mean that their elderly parents can splash out on weddings and banquets, Mutai is often a guest of honor. Now what happens? Mutai has succeeded, this drink has succeeded, and thanks to nationalism, elitism, elite group of people, ageism means this factor of senior citizen or a age group taken as separately, and in words not in spite of these three unholy trinity, okay, but it faces risk. What is the risk? Government in its largest shareholder and meddlesome one, it appears to want prices to remain stable. But what happens exorbitantly, the price boost is at odds with its professed socialistic ideas. Now, what happens? Minority investor, including many foreign funds, lamented Motai wholesale prices a third of what it sells for in shop. Now, raising it could the boost company's profit further. Instead, in some sees as travesty of corporate governance, its majority owner has plans to set up its own sales channel. Now, what is the major risk? Again, in long run, the biggest risk is as they grow older, okay, health concern, work-life balance, and desire for more wholesome pursuits than binge drinking may curb Genbi, toasting cultures on which so much of the demand of the Mutai rest. For the time being, though, the party goes on. So for the time being, the companies are earning profit and the liquor is selling at a very good rate. But at a certain point of time, when what happens, this market comes of the health concern, the people grow older and the old age people are consuming it more, it will be not a good choice, okay, for a country as a whole. So central idea is Moda is the extraordinary success both in terms of market value, popularity driven by unique combination of Chinese nationalism, targeting wealthy elites, focusing on older demographic rather than following Western marketing trends. Now what happens by catering the traditional values and affluent consumers in China. So the major central idea of the passage revolves around these things only. Let's look at the questions. Which of the following is both a reason for Mutai's success as well as possible threat to that success? So reason as well as possible threat. So for the time being, the party goes on. Last sentence of the passage, last para, you can see biggest risk maybe millennials as they grow older, okay, so it's appeal to the older age group. This becomes the biggest, this becomes your answer. Now option number 2, Chinese love for liquor filled celebration, it appeal to the rich, government involvement in its business. This is not a risk, this is not a risk, this is not a risk when it comes to a possible threat also, because this can be, this is not a threat, but this group is a threat as mentioned in the last paragraph. Next question. In the context of the passage, we can infer that to succeed in the liquor industry in China, a marketing firm must consider all of the following factors affecting China's liquor market except that. So now we are talking about all of the marketing firms must consider all of the factors affecting Chinese liquor market except what? Government may control the pricing of the product. Can you see this? See, when you come to marketing firm, okay, so you have to make sure that succeed in liquor industry in China, talking about within China, must consider all of the following factors affecting Chinese liquor market. So government may control the pricing of the product. The competition for winning over middle class is very stiff. Few competitors to meet demands of high liquor, or there is money to be made from marketing in the middle class. Let's check. Second paragraph is directly talking about this. Paragraph number 4, sorry. It choose to serve Chinese super rich rather than its middle class. Okay, so in this case, I have to eliminate option number 2. Because competition of a winning over middle class is very stiff. We don't talk about middle class. Markets are littered with corps of firm that could not compete with cutthroat battles for Chinese middle class wallets, and the country premium market is massive. Okay, so when you come to the question is asking you all of the following except your answer becomes option number 2. Fine. Let's come to the Next question. The phrase would make it an invention to rival gunpowder has been used in the passage in since that. Now, this phrase is used here in paragraph number 3, last line, you can see. Okay, and when I talk about literal sense, original or basic way, yeah, the author is using it in a literal sense. Metaphorical means what? When you used to stand for, symbolize, or some another thing. And a substantive, sorry, having a firm basis in reality, and you can say something is very meaningful or considerable. So this is not giving any meaningful thing. This is not even metaphorical, okay, because it's not symbolizing anything. It is not synonymical, means it is not giving some similar meaning to something, because these two things are very different when you talk about hangover and gunpowder. So it becomes option number A becomes your answer. Coming to the next point. Next question. In the context of the passage, is most likely that the author refers to MOUTAI's marketing strategy as the unholy trinity, because so unholy trinity is in here. You can see it has given in, it is given in paragraph number 5. Unholy trinity starts with affluent millennials and digital natives. All these peoples are using. So these are things: nationalism, elitism, ageism. Unholy trinity. Not in spite of this unholy trinity, this is given, and these three factors are the major factors, because of these MOUTAI is a grand success. So when I talk about marketing strategy, you can see it contradicts with Western strategy of marketing. It's not Western, they are having inbuilt marketing. Because of these factors, they are not following this strategy, so this becomes your answer.